Tonight, the chilling discovery inside the backyard shed of a former prison guard. A man fights for life after an explosion rocks a Sydney apartment block. And a rare treat, we're inside Matt Hall's plane as he cuts loose over his hometown.
This is NBN News with Jane Goldsmith.
Good evening. An off-duty firefighter and road workers have rushed in to help a man set on fire by an explosion in Sydney's Neutral Bay. The blast was so powerful it shook an apartment complex and trapped dozens of residents inside.
An explosion so intense it lights up the whole street and sets fire to a flooring shop in Neutral Bay.
Police believe they've thwarted a major attack after finding an arsenal of high-powered weapons hidden in a backyard in the Hawkesbury. Tonight, a former prison guard is under police watch in hospital, accused of stockpiling the guns, knives and ammunition.
The menacing sight of one man's obsession, enough weapons to kit out a small army discovered in a backyard shed in Richmond. Damien Ryan, NBN News.
The Prime Minister delivered a dose of good news for hundreds of sick Australians today, but mending the shattered coalition is proving a challenge. Seizing the moment, Labor is heading into election mode, targeting Queensland seats, including the one held by Peter Dutton.
A week after departing the top job, Malcolm Turnbull departed the country, bound for a holiday in New York.
Had a good trip, Mr Turnbull.
As his successor, Scott Morrison, marked Father's Day with church before getting back to work at a childcare centre. Jonathan Kersley, NBN News.
3 former presidents were among the Washington elite who gathered today for the funeral of US war hero and politician John McCain. But it was his daughter who summed up the senator's sentiment with a stinging eulogy aimed at an absent Donald Trump.
It was a service of the magnitude normally reserved for a president. In the United States, Robert Penfold, NBN News.
Mental health support is the latest form of drought relief for farming communities across New South Wales. The state government is providing $6.3 million for 20 new farm gate counsellors and frontline mental health workers to help with increased cases of depression and anxiety. A man has miraculously survived a drive-by shooting at casino in the New South Wales Northern Rivers overnight. It's understood the 31-year-old was walking along Canterbury Street at around 11 o'clock when he was fired at by a person in a white sedan. 6 emergency crews quickly arrived on the scene and the man was taken to Lismore Base Hospital and treated for a gunshot wound to his left shoulder. The car was last seen travelling west along Canterbury Street. Police are investigating and anyone with information is urged to contact Crime Stoppers. Novocastrians have scaled Queen's Wharf Tower for the final time, with the city icon permanently closed as of this afternoon. From tomorrow, work crews will move in and fence off the area ahead of its demolition. That will take place over the next month, with the most of the work to be carried out at night. And as workers there prepare to move in, crews up at Foreshore Park are moving out following this year's Supermoto. More than 20,000 people were expected at the event, but crowd numbers fell well short.
Trackside back by the harbour. Newcastle International Supermoto making a roaring return to the foreshore. Tyson Cottrell, NBN News.
There was also plenty of high-flying action at Charlestown at the opening of a new multi-million-dollar skate park. The facility took 2 years to plan and build and was designed to cater for all skill levels.
It was great to be here today to officially open the skate park and we can see how many young people are here.
One of the Hunter River's true characters has chosen Father's Day to call time on 7 decades of fishing our waterways. Jeffrey Hyde retires as the man who brought the Stockton Bite prawns to our plates.
82 years young and no sign of slowing down. This Father's Day for Jeffrey Hyde was much more than a family trip to Ash Island.
Still to come, a person rammed by a car after a massive Melbourne street brawl. A young woman originally from Port Macquarie has died while on board a boat on the Greek island of Kefalonia. It's understood 20-year-old Sinead McNamara was working on the super yacht when her body was found. Local authorities say they aren't treating her death as suspicious. A man's been badly injured in a motorbike crash on the Central Coast. The 19-year-old suffered head and shoulder injuries after coming off his bike during a race at Summersby this afternoon. The Westpac rescue helicopter airlifted the man to Newcastle's John Hunter Hospital in a stable condition. Up to 200 people, many armed with makeshift weapons, have clashed outside a Melbourne nightclub. At the height of the violence, a teenager was hit by a car speeding towards the crowd.
Bloodied faces and broken bodies lying on the street. A man in pain as paramedics work on him, his leg completely crushed after being rammed and pinned between two cars.
Our next story isn't for the faint-hearted. International air racer Matt Hall took NBN News in the cockpit for an air show over Newcastle this afternoon for a thrilling and spectacular joy flight. We caught up with the former Air Force ace after he touched down.
The sight of air racer Matt Hall over the skies of Newcastle is nothing new. But what happened today took it to another level.
Just having a great old time.
For the full joyride, head to our website. Stephen Mount, NBN News.
We'll have to log on after the news.
Absolutely.
It's some sport now with Mitch Hughes, and it's NRL finals time, Mitch.
It certainly is. The regular season is done and dusted. Thanks, Jane. Coming up after the break, the Broncos book a home final as they run riot over the Sea Eagles. The ruthless Roosters leapfrog the Storm to claim the minor premiership. And the shot of the tournament from an ageless Roger Federer. The NRL finals are now upon us, where the minor premier Roosters will face the Sharks in a classic Week 1 showdown. Today, Cronulla had to get past the Bulldogs, whose Mad Monday begins now.
Father's Day, the final day of the final round. Although even Father's Day can be hard work for parents.
The Roosters are again minor premiers, but the Shield is not the prize they seek. In previous seasons, the Tricolours have failed to carry their regular season form all the way to the grand final, but the players say this year will be different.
Post-match media in dingy Darlinghurst alleys. Not quite the way you'd expect Rugby League's glamour club to celebrate a minor premiership.
So this is how Week 1 of the finals will play out. The Storm and Rabbitohs kick things off on Friday night in Melbourne. Then on Saturday, the Panthers face the Warriors, followed by the Roosters and Sharks. Then on Sunday, Brisbane host St George Illawarra. We'll have coverage of all the finals, live and free. We've become almost immune to the brilliance of Roger Federer, but every now and then he does something to remind us of his freakish talent. Today, the world number 2 produced the shot of the tournament, breezing past Nick Kyrgios in the third round of the US Open.
2 sets up, 3-all in the third. This was Roger Federer at his spectacular best.
Germany's Marcus Klaas has cleaned up at the 2018 Newcastle International Supermoto, winning every race in the Oceania Championship. A host of his fellow riders didn't find the racing quite as easy, as a few showers made the bitumen part of the track a little tough. In Newcastle, Rugby League Souths will play Lakes next Sunday for a place in the grand final after the Lions belted Central in the qualifying final. Souths made an early mistake, failing to find touch. Central made them pay. Marcel Ikanofo put the Butcher Boys in front. In Hunter Coast Premier Hockey, Gosford has qualified for the season decider thanks to a big win over Norths in the major semi. Cale Webster, Liam Alexander and Stuart Fletcher all hit the target in the 5-0 whitewash. In the minor semi, Wests hit the front after 2 minutes thanks to Ben Boyle and Jacob Searle. Jane, that's our look at sport.
Thanks, Mitch. We'll check all the weather details after the break. To the weather now, a chilly day for Father's Day celebrations thanks to a very cold air mass being dragged up from the south by a low pressure system. Our farming fathers would have been hoping for a gift from the skies, but we only received some cloud and drizzle patches. Some good news in the 7-day outlook though. Here's a beautiful corner of the world, Howard's Grass, just north of Lismore. Heavy fog captured at dawn on Bangalow Road thanks to dire Limebury. Up to the satellite cloud crossing New South Wales with a cold change is causing the odd isolated shower, mainly along elevated and southern areas with snow falling in the Alps. Skies are clearer in the northern parts of the state under a weak ridge of high pressure. Tomorrow a front and trough in WA may trigger the odd coastal shower. Unstable onshore winds combined with a trough will direct showers along the New South Wales and Queensland coasts. A foggy morning inland followed by a partly cloudy day today with patchy light showers mostly in the lower Hunter. Pretty chilly, a top of just 16 for Nobby's, 18 for Newcastle and Maitland, 7 to 19 at Scone, 15 for Murrurundi. Tomorrow, cloudy with a high chance of showers, a cool day along the coast, 16 again for Newcastle, the same at Toronto and Wallsend, 9 to 16 the range at Maitland, just 2 to 4 at the Barrington tops and a top of 17 for Scone and Merriwar. Coastal waters information sees at a metre with a 3-metre swell, southeasterly winds up to 15 knots. The sun to rise at 6:07 and set at 5:38. And some showers ahead this week for Newcastle. Tuesday cloudy with a high chance of showers. You can see 15 millimetres possible tomorrow, 10 on Tuesday. For Scone, now that's a sight for sore eyes, literally. You can see some decent falls, a few millimetres at least, maybe 6 millimetres on Tuesday. And for Gosford, some showers also forecast, 15 millimetres possible tomorrow. And follow us on Facebook for more local stories. And that's our bulletin for this evening. Happy Father's Day to all of the dads. We hope it's been a special day, and our thoughts are with those missing their dads today.
Happy Father's Day, Harold. We leave you tonight with more pictures from Matt Hall's incredible flight over Newcastle.
But from all of us here for now, good night.